What's up, everybody? We are back with yet another review. Today we are talking about Black Ops 7, and in this review specifically the campaign. We'll have a review for the end game mode you unlock after campaign, as well as multiplayer, like we normally do when CODs come out. Today, like I said, we're just talking about campaign. Before I get into it, I have a link down below. If you want to watch me play through the campaign, now it's a VOD, but like when new games come out, Twitch is linked down below, as well as I'll be grinding multiplayer. I'm going to try out the new end game mode a lot. And we play Apex, Warzone, RedSec, any new multiplayers or single player games that interest me, as well as single player Sundays. So that's linked down below, as well as all my social medias, including my car, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube channel, and my single player video channel where I uploaded the campaign, and I'll link the campaign playthrough down below. It's just all in one big video if you want to just watch the campaign because you don't feel like playing, which when I talk about the review, that might be how you feel. So, as usual, we're going to go cons, so-sos, pros, and then we'll wrap it up with final thoughts and an overall rating. Starting right away with the cons is it is an online campaign. It is literally called co-op campaign, and we'll talk about the co-op in a second. But it's an online campaign, meaning you have to load into lobbies. You cannot pause the game. They are streaming textures instead of having textures cached, which is a big mistake because there's times where like textures aren't loading and trees were disappearing. And you have ping, so you can lag, which I did. All of it is bad, and I played solo. I wasn't co-op, so me pausing or anything wasn't affecting anybody. I didn't need to connect to a server if the game was just local, which it wasn't, so that's bad. The online campaign ruins it because you can't pause it. There's no checkpoints. You can lag. Texture streaming instead of texture cache, all bad. I do not like that it was an online-only campaign. I think it's the first ever. Yeah, I think it's the first ever in COD, and it was a huge mistake. The online campaign really ruined it because you can't pause it. So you got to go do something. Too bad. You got to go to the bathroom. Too bad. Dog needs to go out. Whatever. Too bad. Even though you're playing single-player campaign by yourself. It's one thing if you load into a squad in the co-op and you can't pause or anything. Fine, because you're affecting your squad, right? Although there's plenty of co-op games where when you pause, it pauses for everybody. You can coordinate all that. But there should at least be a solo offline mode, and there isn't. Campaign should be able to be played if you're not connected to the internet, which you can't for this. So that's really bad. And then it also led to some bugs, like when I was in cutscenes, even though I was not squatted up, I was getting some other squads game chat, which was odd during the cutscene. Finally, I got smart enough to just mute the game chat channel. So all of that was not good. And I think that's because of the endgame mode. The endgame mode is an online co-op mode, kind of in the vein of Modern Warfare Zombies. And so that's probably why it was all online. But there should be an offline mode, and then it just loads you into an endgame lobby because it loads you right into it when you finish campaign. The other con, and this is a pretty short review, is a really short campaign. So I actually have two cons because I want to talk about the shortness of the campaign, which is bad. This is another huge con, right? The online campaign, huge con. This one might be worse, and it's the Warzone-ification of COD. They did it to campaign. They've done it to zombies. You know, you had Modern Warfare Zombies, and, you know, in just round-based zombies and Easter egg-based zombies that's back for BO7. There's plates and self-revives, and was there in original Zombies self-revives? But it's just the Warzone-ification across the modes is just getting ridiculous, and they did it again in campaign, so it goes along with that online campaign. So first of all, there's self-revives in campaign. Before when you die, you just go to a checkpoint, which now you can't because online campaign, there is no checkpoints. In fact, I forgot to mention this. I had the game crash twice, way deep into missions, and I had to restart the missions because it was online campaign and you had no checkpoints. So it's a big negative as well. So there's self-revives, which wouldn't be that big of a deal, but once again, it doesn't fit the identity of a Warzone or a Call of Duty campaign. There's plates, once again, a Warzone thing, doesn't fit the identity of Call of Duty campaign. There's gun rarity, which once again does not fit Call of Duty campaign. That's more Modern Warfare Zombies, Warzone, regular zombies type of thing. There was upgrade stations, which you could have still had, but you could find green guns, blue guns, purple guns, orange guns throughout the rarities, which is just the Warzone-ification. And then instead of just these direct linear missions, the last few, I think Modern Warfare 3 and Black Ops 6 were the only ones that had them, but those open world missions, Modern Warfare 2 I think had them too. This whole campaign is like that, right? They're just the big open maps instead of the linear missions that are traditional of COD. And this is all the Warzone-ification of Call of Duty, which is a huge negative. So the two big negatives, the two big cons are the online campaign and all the bad parts it brings about that, and just the Warzone effect on all of COD as a whole and making other modes kind of lose their identity. And then the smaller con is it's super short. I finished it with the crashes and having to go redo it. It was still 5.5 hours total, and that was including loading up the game, reloading up the game, pausing between a couple missions to go make tea, go to the bathroom, feed Tigger, redoing parts of the missions. It was still under 6 hours. 6 hours is like a minimum, and I still think it's too short of a campaign. I think campaign should be 8 hours, but this is one of the shortest COD campaigns of all time, and that included the couple of breaks I did take. Like I backed out of missions, or I just paused at the very beginning of them when nothing was going on, and having on 2 separate occasions to redo, I don't know, almost 10 minutes of mission. So 5.5 hour, 5 hour campaign, way too short. So the cons were the online only campaign, the Warzone-ification of it, and it was too short. Moving into so-sos, we just have one, and that's the co-op aspect. The co-op on the positive side, right, we'll start with the positive, is campaigns haven't been co-op for a while. I don't know when was the last co-op COD campaign, but they used to all be co-op. Co-op used to just be a thing in FPS campaigns in general, and that's gone by the wayside, so I like that it's brought back. Now, there is no couch co-op. That's one of the negatives, but I just like that there is co-op campaigns. You know, it's one of the things that I did growing up with. I did some with my dad. I did it with friends. Co-op campaigns are fun, and it is a way to incorporate friends and also have PvE if you don't really want to sweat. One con. I actually think this is a so-so. Well, I'll say it after the co-op, but just the and then the negative is when you play COD campaigns, it's normally you and like your military squad, right? It's just you. If you play by yourself, it's just you. So that's the negative. I like that co-op exists. The negative is it's part of why the campaign's online only, and you're just by yourself when you play by yourself. There's still all the voice lines, but there's no help, and you're by yourself. The other so-so is there's no difficulty selection, and part of this is because of the online campaign, is something I forgot to mention. I don't mind it because the campaign wasn't brutal, so if you just want to play a campaign, it was easy. I never died. I got knocked a couple times, but I had self-revives, but I was playing recklessly because I had those self-revives. But if you like a harder campaign, this is obviously a negative because the campaign wasn't too hard. So moving on to the pros, the graphics were insanely gorgeous. COD steps it up every year in the graphics department, and they get better and better, and especially during the cutscenes, unbelievable graphics. The graphics were so damn good. The game is gorgeous. Whether you're in cutscenes or playing, the game is simply gorgeous. COD stepped it up on a whole nother level with the graphics in this game. The next one is level and weapon XP. A lot of the reason people will skip campaigns even when they're really good is because they want to get into multiplayer. They want to start grinding for levels and weapons and start leveling up everything, especially in the Warzone era where you got to have stuff leveled up so you can get it through your loadout. People just want to go right into multiplayer, but at least now in campaign, you can level up your guns and yourself, and so you can unlock stuff by leveling up yourself, and you level up the guns so you can unlock stuff for the guns, and then you can go jump into multiplayer and you already have some guns leveled up. So that's nice. And then along that vein is camos. There's Warzone-specific camos, or sorry, campaign-specific camos, and that's just another fun thing in the campaign. Another thing to get people to want to play the campaign, and the Mastery camo is gorgeous. It's Moonbeam or Moonstone. It's really, really pretty. So that's good that there's like leveling and XP and camos that you can get through the campaign, and you can continue those into the end game mode, which is technically part of the campaign, but it's its own mode essentially. So we're going to talk about that on its own. The next thing that was a pro was a performance. Now I did have those 2 crashes, and which aren't that big of a deal. A lot of new games you get crashes because they're brand new. So not a huge deal. Not enough to be a negative, but otherwise I had it on high and ultra settings, and I almost never dropped under 100 frames. I had 1 or 2 seconds of frame drop through the whole campaign. So, when we're talking over 5 hours, 10 seconds or less total of frame drop is not bad, and I got down into 90 and some graphically intense things, but I was over 100 the whole time, and now I have a 5070, and I have a 9800 X3D, and I have 64 gigabytes of RAM, so it's a good PC, but I was streaming, recording, and gaming on high and ultra high, and maintaining 100 to 120 most of the time, and sometimes I got up into the high hundreds, and during cutscenes, I was maxed out. I think I got to like 250 during some cutscenes, so the performance was really good, despite the couple quick frame drops and the couple of crashes. Not bad. And then finally, the gameplay is fun. It doesn't feel like a very good COD campaign, but the gameplay's fun. You have grappling hooks and wingsuits, and the gunplay feels good, and like the gameplay itself is good. It's just it doesn't feel like COD. But I don't want to knock the gameplay because it's not fitting its identity. Those are kind of two separate things, right? And the gameplay was fun, and the gameplay was good, and I enjoyed the actual gameplay. Just didn't feel like a COD campaign, but. So, going through them again, the cons were the no online campaign and all the negatives that came with that, the Warzone-ification of all the COD modes, and it was too short. The so-so was the co-op makes it so you can't really play it solo. You don't have a squad with you. You're just literally by yourself, despite there still being voice lines. And that there is no difficulty options. Even you go back to like Halo 3, Halo 2, online online campaign co-op. You could still pick a difficulty. So, not really an excuse just because it's online. But they went on the easier side. It's not like you have an impossible campaign to play solo. It's on the easier side, so it's not the worst thing in the world. That's why I put it under so-sos. The pros, the graphics are some of the best I've ever played in any game. I'm glazing a little bit, but COD always has amazing graphics. Level and weapon XP as well as camo, so there's more of an incentive to play campaign, grind it a little bit. The performance was good, a couple small frame drops and 2 crashes, but overall, really good performance. And the gameplay was fun at the end of the day. So final thoughts. Like I said, I hate that it's online. I hate the Warzone-ification. And so it doesn't feel like a very good COD campaign. If we take the COD context out of it, it is a good sci-fi campaign. And something I should have put under the cons too, speaking of sci-fi, was I don't mind the futuristic weapons and robots and drones and all of that. But there was like monsters. Now, there was the drug hallucination in the campaign, but there was monsters and essentially zombies and creepy crawlies, and it got too sci-fi in that aspect. I don't mind the futuristic technology part of the sci-fi, but that part was too sci-fi-y. So I didn't really love that. So like I said, if you take the COD context out of it and you just look at it as like a sci-fi FPS campaign, the only real negatives, right, are the online part of it and it's like the online part of it is really the only negative, and it's too short. The Warzone-ification wouldn't matter if it was its own game and it was its own, it wasn't in the context of COD with the history of COD campaigns behind it. If it was just its own sci-fi game, the plates and the self-revive and all that wouldn't be that big of a deal. I don't think it necessarily fits in single-player modes, but my opinion would probably be a little bit different. So it's like it's own sci-fi FPS game. It is a good, fun campaign, but context does matter, and it is a COD campaign, and COD campaigns are better linear, and they're better without all the Warzone-ification aspects, and they're better when you can pause, which would still be a negative without the COD context, and when you can select difficulty, right? And so COD lost a lot of its identity campaign-wise in this, and that knocks off a huge amount of the score, as well as the online. And this is honestly, in the COD context, it's one of the worst Call of Duty campaigns ever. It's too short, it's online, it's Warzone-ified. You're like forced into co-op essentially. There's no difficulty choices, and graphics and the grind aspect and the performance of the gameplay are all great, but that can only save you so much if the whole time you can go watch my replay. I can't wait for it to get over with because, and to be honest, I didn't even put this on here. I don't know why. The story was not all that engaging. The story was fine. It was simple. It just I didn't want to bring it up. It just wasn't COD, and that's really unfortunate. So like I said, from a sci-fi FPS game, really just the online stuff and the no difficulty and and it being too short are the only things you could take away from it. Otherwise, it'd be a great, beautiful, fun game, right? But it is COD, and because of that, I'm feeling like a 4 out of 10. I really didn't like it. Warzone's kind of ruining COD. As much as I love Warzone, and Season 1 comes, I will probably take a half day for Season 1 of Warzone, and I will be grinding it despite it still being on Verdansk. I'll be playing the new Resurgence map, all of that. Right? I'll be grinding when Warzone comes out, and I'll be grinding the next couple weeks to level up guns and get camos and all that in prep for Warzone. But Warzone needs to stay in its BR sphere and not infect everything else. And like I said, so I'm just going to go 4 out of 10. It didn't feel like COD because it wasn't linear. It was too away from technologically sci-fi to other aspects of sci-fi, and just the Warzone-ification's ruining everything. And so I could keep rambling on and on. I'll let the mission play out behind me if it's still the first mission. If this bleeds into the play of the second mission, I'll probably end it right here while I'm talking. I obviously got to go edit it to see, but that's my thoughts on the BO7 campaign. If you just want to say you beat all the COD campaigns or you want to do the camos, it's worth it. But if you're looking for a good COD campaign, I would just stay away other than wanting to unlock the end game mode, and then you just got to slog through 5 to 6 hours depending on how you play. But yeah, that's my thoughts. 4 out of 10. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Have you played it? Are you disinterested in playing it? You know, did my review sway you at all? Let me know whatever. Let's talk in the comments down below. And please don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell if you like this type of content, whether it's Warzone, RedSec, Apex, game reviews. That's about where this content is going to lie on this channel. But let me know what you think in the comments down below once again. And check out the Twitch and Instagrams and TikToks and other YouTube channels and Twitter, all linked down below. And I'll see you in the next review. Thank you. Bye.
Come on, through here. What the fuck is going on in here? Plant sand? What the hell is this shit?
Keep your head on straight and we'll make it.
My hit is
So obviously like biomes.
Cortisol levels spiking. System instability detected.
I need to turn on the telemetry stuff so I can keep an eye on FPS and see what performance is like.
Dare I say, a collaborator as well. You will know fear.
What the fuck? It's obviously fake because the toxins or whatever.